forum. This past year, I think, was a big success. It was the first year that members who had paid their $15 dues were allowed to come free. We had excellent participation from both the minority and majority parties. The caucuses were very good. The food, as usual, was good, and we still made a profit. So the next thing we got to do is start worrying about next year.
Thank you for all you do, and thank your committee for what you do. Don, registration?
Yeah, as you may remember, at the beginning of the session, I predicted that the session would be dominated by the budget. I had no idea that it was going to be quite as dominated by the budget. I think we're a very tough year for trying to get anything through the legislature. Just statistically, we supported 24 bills, 7 of which were cross-filed, so that it really reduces it, that we were supporting 17. Of those 17, 5 have passed both houses. 4 made it through one house, but got killed in the other, and 7 never got heard, but never got voted on in committee. So that meant that there was only one of our bills that was actually defeated in committee and then subsequently withdrawn. That was the so-called Falls bill. It was a bill to study, actually to create a state day for prevention of falls, which actually was rather ironically in the first week of fall. But it would also have created a task force to study and come up with recommendations and so forth. It did not make it.
But that started out to be, they were going to make falling a felony, right?
Misdemeanor.
It started with felony, and then he worked down. Bruce, Emily, you want to tell us what's going on with IT?
Sure. Yeah, pretty much we've been working with Facebook and social networking to try to promote USM. We've been, we've been getting a few more, people that are liking our Facebook page and USM's Facebook page, and we've been trying to kind of spread the word a little bit more, and hopefully trying to advocate more on online in terms of using Twitter, Facebook, and using YouTube especially. Hopefully we're going to have some more videos up for YouTube, and we're hoping we're going ahead in that direction.
How much stock did we buy with Facebook?
It's hard. Well, actually, it's very, there's a lot of ways to use Facebook, and you can use it as you go throughout the week and post news stories and what have you.
What's amazing, a year ago we couldn't spell IT, and now we have a Twitter page, Facebook page, YouTube. Lawyers' remarks will be on YouTube. My presentation will be on YouTube. That's why. And we have more coming.
Do you happen to know how many associations link into USM?
In terms of the actual organizations that are actually
Yeah,
part
we
of
at
USM?
Charlestown link into USM.
I don't know that actual exact number. I could find it out for you if you'd like.
All right. So let's move on to the President's annual report. Let's start with this, Gloria. Come on. Go back. Come on. One more time.
That's weird.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what that is. Across the street from Gaylord, there's a restaurant that's got an automatic book.
Are you writing it?
No, that's me falling off of it. I think it would be something else. And I thought it would be fun to watch because, you know, I stand up here and you say you throw the ball all the time. Well, the bull had its retribution. At any rate, this is my annual report. I guess the biggest singular internal event was restructuring the bylaws. And we really need to thank Paul Bissell, who headed that committee, Lindsay Cronmiller and Susie Dubinsky, who worked it out and modernized it, brought it to something which becomes very much more workable than what we had. Mostly, the major differences are that we now have a board of directors which will max out at 19 people. And those 19 people will consist of 4 elected positions, 5 appointed committee standing chairs, 1 to 5 people at large, and then 4 organizations who were in when the USM started, who will have a permanent seat. And they are Vermont Federation, AARP, Maryland Department of Aging, and MRSPA. And that will total out to be a maximum of 19. The other thing, there were 2 other major things. Because of communications, because of electronics, we now have in the bylaws that we can meet as a board and take votes electronically, which is, wow, you know, it opens up so much. We can have a board member in Garrett County because they don't have to travel 3 hours for a half-hour board meeting. So we want to move in that kind of direction going more. IT, Twitter, all of this pushes in that direction. And the other thing is that the individual members, and this is a general meeting, and at the general meeting, all individual members, everybody who's in the room gets a vote. Anybody who's paid dues, either through an organization or as an individual, gets to vote to ratify the board members and committee chairs. But the business really needs to be run by a smaller group. You got up to something like 94, 95 members. You can't have a board that big. So this is a move in a super direction. So thank you, committee people, for that. I do have to thank the outgoing executive committee. They were a small group of people. Dave Roseman, Dave Dickens, Dave Crespo, Don Sillers, Bruce, Charlie Culbertson, and we had a membership vice president for a while, but he had to resign. And those people were great. Anything I did successfully, Gloria, came through them. You know, if I had 3 good ideas, they knocked down about 10 that were, shouldn't even talk about. And so they were a vital part moving this organization forward. Membership, last count, were 94 organizations. And I'm out of sync with how many, but I know there are hundreds of individuals. Personally, I'd like to see the goal, we have 100 members, organizations by next session. And I'd like to see 500 individual members. And I don't know why that should be hard to do. One thing we need to do, going back to electronics again, we need to find a way to have this meeting interactive with the Commission on Aging in Garrett County so that they can be members, they can participate, and not have to drive to Annapolis to do that. We don't have members in the really far out regions. We go up to Cecil County, and I went there to talk to the Commission on Aging. I thought I may as well have gone to Boston. I mean, that was just a long haul. So to expect them to drive down here all the time is more than you can ask. So we have to find some way to make this inclusive of the whole state. This is a statewide organization. Membership map. Okay. Automation is a good idea, but without human follow-up, it's a flaw. And what we bought into, I'll take the blame for. I don't think turned out to be the right thing to do, the right organization to do. The program is not user-friendly. Right now, after a year, 2 years, whatever it is, there's only 2 of us that can use it comfortably. I should say only one can use it comfortably, because I struggle. And the major downfall, even if it were possible to get records more easily, the major downfall is if you don't have somebody to call and say, "Oh, Jane or Mike, you didn't pay your dues, are you going to re-up?" Or organization, are you going to re-up? You need it. It falls apart. And I must confess to you, I do not know how many paid members we have individually or organizationally. Some of the facets of the program of Mickey Mouse is just too complex. It's failed to generate good reports easily. And the link between our webpage to that organization, to PayPal, has been a disaster. So at the board meeting this morning, I asked Bruce and Paul, myself, and I'm going to pick on Elizabeth Wegline and ask her to participate in looking at a different system. And if we blew a couple of $1,000 getting into this, well, we move forward, that's what we need to do. And I was told I was the only one in the whole world that ever had that complaint until they came back the next month. You know? And so, member groups just changed their law. They had comments. The first 2 comments were, "It looks pretty, but nothing changed." So we're right back where we were, and it needs to be reviewed. Legislation, what can you say? Don Silvers has done outstanding work. His committee has done superb work. This has been super. We are known in Annapolis as a sensible organization that makes reasonable comments. We're listened to, we're sought after, and we're growing in stature all the time. We get people coming to us to say, "Would you support this legislation if we put it forward? Do you have legislation you want to put forward?" This is just dramatic. This is wonderful. And when I am pushed aside, and I hope that will be in the next couple of months, truly that will be something that I will miss. The fact that people think enough of this organization to come up to me and ask my opinion about it. Very flattering. But I did have a crystal ball. And I don't often say I told you so. Because here's something I've been saying for the last 2 years. It will cost more to live in the state of Maryland and you will get fewer services. And it has come to pass that revenue is going to go up. It's coming out of our pockets. Services have gone down. Already it has gone down. There's a move in Baltimore County that I don't understand totally. But it has something to do with money follows the person going to be in jeopardy in Baltimore County. Is that right? It's kind of hasty. It had to do with supervision, case management, going from an administrative charge to a service charge. Baltimore County thinks it's going to cost them money. They're going to opt out, pull that cord, the sweater may come apart, and who knows what's going to happen. happened. So there's going to be fewer services. And we're going to have to do more. As good as we've been, we're going to have to do more. I remember saying in front of the budget hearing that we come down here every year to say the same thing. And I couldn't figure out why. And suddenly it dawned on me that you look at me and you say, okay, you're down here asking for money to be kept into the Department of Aging. Don't cut any money from that. Don't cut any money from OHCQ. Protect the senior. And here you are, you're reasonably articulate, reasonably well-dressed, good-looking. And I said, and so now I get it. You think you're talking about me. You're not. Fortunately, I'm fortunate. And I don't have to rely on the state. But there are people who rely upon the state. There are, what, 35,000 dually eligibles in the state? That means they're old enough to be on Medicare, they paid into Medicare, and they're poor enough to be on Medicaid. That's pretty poor. They're the people we need to protect, as well as in other areas, all of us need protection. Don't you smile at me, because you're getting up there too. Financial, we did all of it. We would have done a lot better. Again, going back to member management, because I think a lot of people didn't pay dues. And at the next board meeting, I'll probably ask that there be a dues holiday, pick it up, not try to go back and get people who didn't pay 6 months ago. So you call them up, find somebody to do that, say, pay your dues now, let's go forward. Meetings, we count what, 35 people, and this is about the average number. That's great, but with 95 organizations and hundreds of individuals, you would think we would overflow this one. Hasn't happened, and it shouldn't have happened. We've had great performance, including this morning, and thank you again. It was just super of you to come and super things you said were great. Thank you. Forum, thanks to Dave Roseman and others who helped. What worked? Electronic tickets worked. A little rough because people had trouble paying through PayPal, which it goes back to the member management. Shorter program work. We didn't have an afternoon program because the year before it just fell apart. People didn't want to stay that long. Town hall meeting format with leaders from both parties. That really worked. Were you doing that? When we had both parties on a day? The caucuses worked. People finally got the idea. We were down there to let the legislators know what our positions were. We didn't care what their position was. We care, but that's not what we're saying. We're down. This is a rally forum. This is why we're here. We've been involved in a lot of things. And I have to thank some people specifically. Virginia Crespo is the Oversight Committee for Nursing Homes and Assisted Living Facilities. Sue Walker, where's Sue here? Sue Walker, money policy person, super with it. Phyllis Myers is on budget and stakeholder group. Not only that, but Phyllis is now working with Alice Head to develop statewide consistent ombudsman program, which is super. And that ties back to USM. So we got our fingers in lots and lots of pies. Maureen Cavioli and the Baby Boomer Initiative Council and Innovations in Aging. So I want to thank Wendy and Jack Knox and Theodore Green and Muriel and Jeanette Higginbottom, Bruce Emily, Ann Myers, and Sue Ward, all for coming by and helping us to do it. So it was really nice of them to do, and let me have a breather. That was really successful. We had information about end-of-life choices, and I had printed up 100 advanced directives. And at the end of the day, I had run short. I had talked to at least that many people with some meaningful conversations. What they did with it afterwards, I have no way of knowing, but they were meaningful conversations. And that was pretty good. That was pretty interesting. And the next morning, I couldn't talk. Can you believe that? Paul Bissell continues to make the USM webpage something to marvel at. If I have any complaint about that, it's got so much stuff over there, we have to sift it through out, you know? Bruce has done so much. Can you imagine now, not only what he's done to keep us afloat, remember critics, but Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, you'll be able to see what Gloria had to say on YouTube. This will be up on YouTube for anybody who might be interested. That's wild. The Education Foundation, which is an offshoot. We're making operational plans. I don't want to reveal them right now, because I don't want to talk about what might be. We've got to talk about what has been. But what we have done, we printed 30,000 cards indicating to people what their end-of-life options and rights are. And there's a pile of the cards on the back table. The display we have been using back there, we have put up a USM plaque with it. The small, interestingly enough, at the Innovations on Aging, it became apparent that people didn't understand why they were walking into our booth. So I puzzled over that for a long time. So I came up with another placard that says, end of life does not have to mean end of choice. I thought that was okay. First person who walked up and said, so you're for euthanasia. I said, all right, what am I going to do with this? And I didn't get a chance to make a bigger one, but I made a smaller plaque, which is the one on the right, which says you can get advanced directives free of charge. Now, I had to say you can get it free of charge if it's web-based, because the foundation can't afford to keep printing. They end up costing you a buck a piece, and people just pick them up. You know, I did have a lot of conversations, but people would just pick them up, and the foundation ain't that rich, so we'll have to just have one copy there if we want to talk about it, and say, if you want a copy, it's free, here's where you can get it. But it's been an interesting experience, and I think that the foundation poised to jump forward really meaningful and significant ways. Rewards program, and I wanted to list all these people again because they do so much. The first champion award went to Michael Chance, followed by Sue Ward, followed by delegate Marianne Love, and the law. And then the President's Award, which is not quite as old. The first one went to Dave Rosen, the second went to Paul Bissell, the third went to Bruce Emerald. So you can tell from me giving those awards as president what I think of what these people have done for this organization. The current climate is still true. The senior population is growing well. Why? Most of the world is still in a state of financial chaos. The United States is better than most. Look what's going on in Europe. Look what the BRIC countries are doing. Look what Spain, Greece, Ireland. We ain't out of the woods yet. Property values are still down. Retirement accounts, for those who stuck it out, they got most of their money back. But those who panicked and sold out, they're poor now, are poorer than they were, and they're going to stay that way because they can't buy back into stuff. Inflation is a threat. Inflation's going to happen. Inflation is going to happen. I'll go back to that crystal ball slide and change it and say, look out for inflation. maybe 2-3 years down the road, but you can't keep throwing money. You gotta throw money, I agree with Clifton on that, you gotta throw money to make the economy work. But when you throw money at services and material, the price goes up. When the price goes up, it's called inflation. There will be inflation. We need to increase revenue, could impact seniors, and we've already talked about that, and it will. And Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and credit at some level. So that's where we are. And going forward, it's going to continue to be a struggle to preserve and enhance mental, physical, and financial well-being of Maryland seniors. USM fulfills a growing role. United Seniors of Maryland didn't exist so much after that. Even now, USM is the largest umbrella organization advocating for seniors. Now, you can talk about MSCAN. That's a group of individuals from professional organizations. You can talk about AARP, huge. But they've got a little bit more narrow focus. You can talk about Alzheimer's, again, narrow focus. United Seniors bridges all of that. We're the only organization that does that at that level. Look at our, and there's some copy back there, but our priority, not priority, but our platform, our program from 2012. It covers a gamut, and that makes us unique, and that gives us an opportunity to grow and be more and more important. Continued growth will mean continued value, continued, couldn't talk the other morning, can't talk now. Continued growth will mean continued evolution as an organization. Now, electronic communication will make it possible. I agree. You guys will make it doable. Finally, first, this is my last annual report. I know that the next administration and you will make USM even more than it is today. I want to thank everybody for allowing me the opportunity to serve. It's been wonderful, gratifying, humbling, and sometimes a fun experience. But not so much fun, but always wonderful, gratifying, and humbling. So, thank you very much. The next order of business today is election, ratification. And so, Muriel, you chaired the
I'm going to give you the result of the nominations committee. First, I want to pass around a list. And Ted wants to make, and we all want to make USM even more than it is today. And he mentioned a number of other people who worked with him and continue to do an awful lot for the organization. And in many cases, these people don't have a group to work with. A lot of this effort is individual. We know Ted has done a heck of a lot. He's energized wanting to do an awful lot of these things himself, which is more than should be expected of a president. My point is that I'm sending around or distributing this report, and I hope everybody will sign up to be on a committee. There's several pages here. You can put notes at the end if you want to do something. If everybody signs up for something. This is not a big commitment. Most of it can be done by email. Some of it is just one season, like getting involved in the forum. So I'll pass around this clipboard and hope everybody can get involved. I think we really need to broaden the active involvement of people. USM. And we need to continue to call for that at all of our meetings, because it seems to me that a few people have really done an awful lot, and we all could share that responsibility and that work. The board met this morning, as Ted mentioned, and this is the report of the nominating committee. First of all, the board moved and approved the delay of the office of the president itself, the election, for 4 to 6 months. And while we continue to search for a candidate for president, Ted is going to remain the immediate past president. So we don't need over the summer, but in the fall we will have an election for the replacement president for Ted. We do have the nominations for the other offices, and I'll read them here. Vice President Wendy Cronmiller, Treasurer Paul Bessel. Do we want to, maybe we could just stand up. Wendy, could you stand up? Wendy Cronmiller, Paul Bessel, Virginia Crespo, Secretary, and then we need to ask for your ratification of chairs of these groups. Bruce Emmerling, IT, who will be obviously that. Dave Roseman, Forum Chair, and Don Sillers, Legislative, John was sitting there. Don Sillers, Legislative Chair, and we have a vacancy for the PR membership chair. So, Mr. President, that's our report.
Any other nominations to come before? I ask for unanimous consent on the report and installation of these people. Mike moved, Sue seconded, without objection. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you so much. Now, we have 3 more people to approve the new board. We have up to 5 people at large. And I had recommended to the board this morning, got their approval, need your ratification, to have Sue Walker, Elizabeth Redline, and Muriel, I'm sorry. Muriel Cole to be board members at large. So I would ask, I would ask a second to that approval. Dave Roseman, Ted Jensen, a second, without objection, so carried. And then move to any new business that might be on the table that people want to talk about, or any old business they want to bring up. If not, have no lunch, folks. Thanks. Sue?
Just include announcements.
Yes, go ahead.
Tomorrow, the governor will be signing a bill that will recommend Harriet Tubman to be a statuette at the Statuette Hall in the U.S. Capitol. And so anybody who's free, I think the signing ceremony is at 10. So recommend it to everybody here.
Okay, any other? Sue?
I want to let everybody know that the Maryland, the Money Falls person and the Ballot Incentive Payment Program, next meeting is going to be on June 12th. And at that meeting, they're asking for a lot of stakeholders to come and talk about what to do with $106 million. One of the suggestions is to increase the amount of money that the providers are getting to provide Medicaid waiver services. But there's could be lots of other ideas. So if people are interested in coming, please come. We need as many people to come with good ideas and also the back other ideas so that we can get this money moving and working for Maryland.
Any other announcements?
We'd just like to ask that everybody make sure they sign the attendance. When I think we missed a few.
Anything else?
Yeah, I just had one follow-up on Ms. Lawler's statements. I do Meals on Wheels also, it's one of my volunteer activities, and I find that many of the Meals on Wheels people do not deal with computers. They just don't handle it. But her point about smartphones, where you have a simple telephone that goes on the web, I think is a lot simpler for seniors to, would be simpler for seniors to get used to. If they had a smartphone, they could go on the web without having to deal with all the printers and all the dealing with the computer programs and that kind of thing. So that would be a great idea to have a program to be able to provide seniors with smartphones. And it would be easier for them to get used to that. And that, as you said, to go on that smartphone if you need service or whatever. That's a great idea. I like that.
Anything else?
There's a lot of coffee there,
We
overbought it, so.
couple of donuts there too. So anything else, Victor? We are going to have USM Foundation Board meeting